This is going to be an absolutely massive champion changes patch, as there are 26 different champions being adjusted. So as always, we're going to have the full rundown of every single change to set you guys up for 25.12, which is going to be hitting live servers this upcoming Wednesday, June 11th. Now, it's no secret that League's ranking system is designed to trap you. Pulls you in with all those games where everything clicks and you carry hard, only to balance it out with those frustrating matches that feel unwinnable from the very start. Now, this cycle just keeps you in the grind, hoping for change, but never quite breaking through. And what most players don't even realize is that escaping this cycle requires specific skills and specific strategies tailored to your exact rank. And that is where skill cap comes in. We are the only service in this entire industry that has invested millions of dollars into identifying what actually works at every tier. Our challenger coaches have mapped out the best and most useful strategies that turn hard-stuck players into consistent climbers. And you can access all of this expertise for less than $9 a month with our annual plan. Now, we're so confident in our method that our business model depends on your success. Climb at least 5 whole divisions while actively using skill cap, or claim a full refund. No questions asked. So stop wasting time on the ranked treadmill, man. Start climbing today with proven strategies designed specifically to break through your current rank. Check us out by clicking the link in the top right corner or in the description below. And with that being said, let's get into it. So first, for a couple of system changes, Atakhan is going to be spawning a bit more frequently in the top lane from now on, with top lane damage importance going up by 20 to 25%. The only rune being changed for this patch is Grasp, and it's a pretty big nerf, with the range champion effectiveness of the rune dropping from 60 to 40%. So going in alphabetical order and covering all the buffed champions first, Aatrox is going to be given a small boost for 25.12. Aatrox ended up losing win rate from his adjustments last patch, so Riot's given him some power back to his passive, with the heal increased from 80 to 100% post-mitigation damage. Omnivamp against champions is going up from 0.9% bonus health to 1.1% bonus health. Aphelios will have his base attack speed increased from 0.64 to 0.665. Calibrum base damage is being increased by 10 in the early game, and then Severum bonus movement speed is up from 20 to 25%. Aurora is going to see a boost to her magic resist, going from 30 to 32. And on top of this, our AP ratio is going to be increased from 60 to 70%. Bard is going to receive a base movement speed buff, as it's being increased from 330 to 335. Bel'Veth is getting buffed, with her R cast range seeing a boost from 275 to 450 units. Garen is going to have some scaling strength added to his E, however the base damage is going to be reduced. Base damage is down from 4 scaling to 20 to 4 scaling to 16. AD ratio is up from 36 scaling to 44% to 36 scaling to 48%. Jax has been a pretty weak solo queue champ for a while, so he's going to receive a boost to his passive scaling power, as the attack speed per stack is being increased from 3.5 scaling to 11% to 5 scaling to 12.5%. Riot has 2 buffs lined up for Leblanc, with her E2 AP ratio being increased from 80 to 85%, while our cooldown is dropping by 5 seconds at all ranks. Now, there are a few buffs on the way to Lee Sin's E, with the cooldown being reduced from 9 to 8 seconds, and slow going up from 20 scaling to 80% to 35 scaling to 75%. We've got a Mordekaiser buff on the way, as his Q base damage is being increased from 80 scaling to 200 to 80 scaling to 220. Nidalee's E in Cougar form is getting a buff for this patch, as the AP ratio is being increased from 40 to 55%. Samira is going to be buffed for a second patch in a row, with her passive bonus movement speed going up from 2 scaling to 3.5% to 2.75 scaling to 3.5%. Q-base damage is also buffed, going from 0 scaling to 20 to 5 scaling to 25. Twisted Fate is going to have a whole 20 seconds shaved off his R cooldown at every single rank. E bonus attack speed is buffed as well, going from 10 scaling to 50% to 15 scaling to 55%. Zeri's R damage is going to be buffed in 2 different ways, as the damage on cast is being increased from 175 scaling to 375 to 200 scaling to 400, while the bonus AD ratio is up from 85 to 100%. R's Chain Lightning AD ratio is going up as well, from 30 to 40%. Ahri is going to be receiving 2 nerfs for this patch, as her E charm duration is being lowered from 1.2 scaling to 2 seconds to 1.2 scaling to 1.8 seconds. R cooldown is going up by 10 seconds at rank 1, 5 seconds at rank 2, and it's the same as before at max rank. Azir is going to have his base movement speed lowered from 335 to 330, while bonus attack speed per level is going to take a hit, going from 6 to 5.5%. Gwen is going to be nerfed in two different ways, with her base health dropping from 620 to 600, and W cooldown is going up from 22 scaling to 18 seconds to 24 scaling to 18 seconds. Kalista is going to be nerfed yet again, with her base health dropping from 580 to 560, and Q cooldown is up from 8 to 9 seconds. Neeko's early poke power from Q is being nerfed, with base damage going from 80 scaling to 260 to 60 scaling to 260. However, AP ratio is up from 50 to 60%. W on-hit damage is nerfed, dropping by 10 at all ranks. Rumble's Q max health damage is being targeted, dropping from 6 scaling to 10% to 6 scaling to 8%. E slow is nerfed as well, going from 15 to 10%. Now, it was pretty easy to predict that Senna would be nerfed for 25.12 with how OP she's been for ADC, and it's her passive soul drop rate being reduced from 15 to 10%. Taliyah is going to receive two small nerfs, with her base magic resist dropping from 30 to 28, and empowered Q damage amp being lowered from 190 to 180%. We have a base stat nerf to Varus, as his armor is being lowered from 27 to 24. Yorick is going to receive a few changes, with his Mistwalker's bonus attack speed changed from scaling off of 100% of Yorick's bonus attack speed to now attacking at 8 scaling to 80% attack speed based on level. Yorick's Q base damage is being nerfed, dropping from 30 scaling to 130 to 30 scaling to 110. Rammus is going to be receiving a pretty massive overhaul this patch, which should make him a lot more versatile and not just a champ you play into heavy AD comps. Now, we say this because of the passive change that Riot's issuing, to where Rammus will no longer deal bonus damage on hit that scales with armor, and instead is going to be given bonus AD equal to 15% bonus armor and 15% bonus magic resist. So Rammus's passive is now going to scale off magic resist, which is absolutely huge for his viability into magic damage comps. For Rammus's W, when enemies auto-attack you, instead of reflecting damage equal to his passive's bonus damage, you're going to now deal damage equal to 15% base plus 10% total armor and 10% total magic resist. So, another change that gives Rammus magic resist scaling. And to top it all off with this next change is just going to make it so that Rammus will be so much more viable into magic damage, as his W-based bonus magic resist on cast is going up from 10 to 27. Bonus armor on cast is dropping, however, from 40 to 27. W bonus armor ratio is being lowered as well, from 35 scaling to 75% to 30 scaling to 60%. W bonus magic resist ratio is going up, though, from 30 scaling to 50% to 30 scaling to 60%. W duration is going to be increased from 6 to 7 seconds, and basic attacks are no longer going to extend the duration of Rammus's W by 0.4 seconds. And now for some E changes, you're no longer going to gain attack speed, and instead will deal 80 scaling to 160 bonus damage to monsters. So a little bit of a nerf when in combat due to this one. Rammus's R is being adjusted in a few different ways, as you're no longer going to cause 3 shockwaves to burst from the area after use, and the middle of Rammus's R will no longer deal 50% increased damage. To compensate, though, base damage is going to be going up from 100 scaling to 250 to 150 scaling to 350. R slow is up from 15 scaling to 20% to 30 scaling to 50%. Cooldown is being increased from 90 seconds to 120 scaling to 90 seconds. And then for a few base stat changes, attack damage is going to go up from 55 to 65. Base armor is dropping from 40 to 35. Armor growth is down from 5.5 to 4.5, and then base attack speed is up from 0.656 to 0.7. So overall, guys, on paper, what we're seeing here from these changes is that Rammus is going to be getting weaker into AD comps, but stronger into AP. So for the longest time, Rammus has been really known as that jungler to counter heavy AD, but we could definitely see that flip moving forward to where he suddenly just becomes more optimal into magic damage. So moving on to Vi. Vi has fallen to holding one of the lowest win rates for any jungler in solo queue. So Riot definitely has a few changes lined up, with her W max health damage being lowered from 4 scaling to 10% to 4 scaling to 8%. W bonus AD ratio is up, though, from 2.85 to 3.5%. W bonus attack speed is dropping from 30 scaling to 60% to 30 scaling to 50%. E base damage is going up from 0 scaling to 60 to 10 scaling to 90. And then E AD ratio is going down from 120 to 110%. Okay, guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in skill capped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit
skillcap.com and literally see the difference.
So there you have it, everyone. Those are every one of the changes that's going to be hitting live servers for 25.12 that is set to drop on Wednesday, June 11th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.